Hello, dear colleagues. We offer you a report on the problem of solid waste in Ukraine and ways to solve it. This slide shows the structure of our presentation, which consists of the following items: introduction, analysis of research and publication, research aim and objectives, impact of landfills on humans and environment, the world experience of waste management, Landfills of SDW in Ukraine, measures to improve the environmental situation in Ukraine. Conclusions. Environmental pollution issues are growing drastically every year all around the world. It leads to environmental catastrophe of global scale. One of the most important problems to be solved is the annual increase in the amount of household waste and their rational use. During 2020 to 2021, the amount of household waste is increased as a result of coronavirus COVID-19. Plastic bags, disposable masks, and rubber gloves were added to waste. The result of the analysis showed that outlined by as problem is considered and described in the following areas, which are presented on the slide. In Ukraine, there are a number of legislative documents. Although there are gross violations of this regulation and insufficient control by government agencies, especially mass emergence of unauthorized landfills. So domestic waste CDV sorting is almost not existent. It directly affects increase in waste in landfills and increased landfills area. The aim is to investigate the problem of solid waste management in Ukraine and to describe the landfill's impact on environmental components. To achieve this goal that as shown on this slide were performed. Emergence of plastic and other synthetic materials exacerbated the environmental situation on the planet. Such materials are almost not degradable and cause good damage to flora and fauna within a radius of hundreds of kilometers from the territory of organized landfills. The amount of plastic waste discharged into the ocean is shown in figure. Impact on landfills is pollution of air, groundwater, and surface water and soil itself by hazardous components of waste and their decomposition products. These hazards are significantly exacerbated in the case of fire at the storage site. Landfills and especially CDV dumps are powerful centers of environmental pollution, like a biochemical reactor. In its thickness, there is formation of significant amounts of toxic gases and liquid filtrate, breeding flies, and development of pathogenic microorganisms. Spreading further along different trophic chains, various toxic substances formed at landfills cause degradation of biosystem, flora and fauna, aquatic organisms, and adversely affect human health through water, air, food. Features show general management of global waste. It is shown that open and closed landfills are dominated. A slightly smaller part is recycling and incineration. The smallest part is composting and anaerobic fermentation. European environmental policy is aimed at building specialized plants for processing of a wide range of waste, including glass and plastic. Activities of such enterprises are very profitable from an economic point of view. About 18% of all waste coming for recycling finds second life. As a result, most economically developing countries are gradually abandoning solid waste landfills and switching to new methods of disposal that can improve the environment and receive additional funds and raw materials from recycling and energy. Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, Australia, and Japan can be called the world's leading waste recycling countries. According to the Minister of Health of Ukraine, Viktor Lahoiko, in 2020, Ukraine generated 462 million tons of waste. Solid waste is the most difficult to manage. 10 million tons of solid waste are generated annually in Ukraine. There are 33,000 authorized landfills in Ukraine. Today in Ukraine there are officially 5,455 landfills and dumps with total area of over 8.5 thousand hectares. Important place in Ukraine in the process of waste disposal is occupied by incinerators. There were 5 incinerators in Ukraine at different times. Now only the energy plant in Kiev operates. However, this one permanent incinerator in Ukraine, which disposes only quarter of solid waste in Kiev. This means that almost all other waste goes to landfills and only small part of solid waste goes to waste collection points for processing. Biogas extraction systems are installed at 26 landfills in Ukraine. Example of Denbach generator at the landfills in Zhytomyr is shown in figure. Waste sorting by every citizen and processing of primary and secondary waste can significantly improve Ukraine's environmental situation. It is borrowing of more developing countries' experience. This turns waste into valuable resources, energy, fuel, household items, and more. Unfortunately, there is no waste management policy in Ukraine. This leads to loss of millions of tons of valuable materials each year. At the state level, measures should also be taken to encourage producers of polyethylene and polypropylene packing materials to produce biodegradable products and producer of plastic in primary forms to produce biopolymers that are compostable and biodegradable as raw materials for biodegradable products. Situation with landfills in Ukraine is uncontrolled. It is evidenced by illegal landfills. They constantly deteriorate environmental situation in Ukraine by their harmful chemical emissions. Landfills will remain the main way to accumulate solid waste for a long time. This slide shows how you can reduce the impact of various household wastes on the environment. It should be understood that if humanity does not start to improve environment situation now, then in a couple of decided we will get poisonous water, land that cannot produce organic fruit. Thank you for your attention.